the transition from coming from champion jockey for 13 consecutive years to becoming a horse trainer. Obviously, now you're on the other side of the game,
fence.
of the fence, literally. And how has it been? We'll start off with the stresses and the mental challenges you've faced having that transition, because you've gone from the top of your game to literally starting on a level playing field. How did that feel for you, and how did that impact you on a personal level?
Look, I left a career behind that I had a great innings to, and I've said it a couple of times that everything has a shelf life, and I had a pretty long one in being able to maintain myself competitively and professionally at the top end of the pedestal for a long time. I left racing on my terms, and I was still riding competitively, and I felt very well. I thought I worked hard as a jockey. When I started training, it's a lot harder. The hours, the time, the planning, the handling of different tasks. So once I was done with track work as a jockey, I had the rest of my day to myself, basically, which enabled, you do your training, you do your form, but you do have a lot of time to yourself. I think as a trainer now, coming in early, overseeing all the horses, checking that they're okay, preparing their gallops, preparing their programs for racing, speaking to owners, updating, all those sorts of things. And then you've got the entertaining side of seeing an owner for lunch,
which is a huge part of the game here.
So there's it's a lot more pressure, and a lot more time consuming. But having said that, it's something that I enjoy. I enjoy spending time with the horses. I enjoy, very fortunate to be able to still ride my own work. I can feel if there is something niggling, and we can address it when I get back. So that probably is still one of the most satisfying things that I'm fortunate enough to be able to do.
Is ride morning track with them.
Yes.
That's amazing. And in terms of, if you could have known while you were riding that this is what it took to get a horse to the track, would you have done things differently? Would you have looked at it differently, or would you have still gone on the same path that
I would
you've
have
gone?
definitely have gone the same path, because
Right.
you don't know until you try. And it's like anything, we're all creatures of habit. It's become a habit now to just wake up at that time and do the work. And if you're not going to enjoy it, well, now's the time to quit. But it's like anything that you enjoy or you get good at.
Passionate about as well.
You're going to find a way, and you're going to beat the system, and you're going to enjoy it. So, and the horses, they give me that. You want to wake up and you want to come and see them. You want to be part of them, and you want to make sure that they're okay. So I'm loving it.
That's amazing. And from a jockey's perspective, do you think that if the jockeys knew what it took to be a horse trainer, would they look at it differently? Do you think? I mean, it's hard to speak on everybody's behalf, but you as a jockey, if you'd have known that this is what it took for trainers to get a horse to the track and get them sound and get them prepared and all the background work that goes into it, would you have looked at the trainers differently and the work that they actually put in?
I would have. And I think it's something that should be looked at, and not just an oversight. Because the work, the effort, in Hong Kong you only get 2 trump cards, the planning, and then I fully am aware. I've been a jockey and I've now a trainer, but so a lot does depend on luck with gates. Gates in Hong Kong are imperative, and they play a big part of the success story. Mm-hmm. But then you're also, there's a couple of times where you just think, well, you could have possibly given that a better ride, or you could have done something a little bit different, and the result would have probably been different. Mm-hmm. And I don't think enough thought and time goes into the preparing, and it's fine for a jockey to get off the horse. They can jump on another horse from another stable, but I've still got to train that horse, and I've still got to.
And you're held accountable.
Well, I've got to still tell the owner and explain to the owner. So it does get difficult, and but it's something you deal with, I suppose.
And I think that that's also good in a way. I think it should be sort of incorporated more into the younger generation coming up as jockeys as well, is to like go into the stables, and which is what they do here. I mean, we've got our, you know, your apprentices that come in, and you know, you make them work on the back end, you know, groom some horses, you check, you know, do the icing and all that sort of stuff. And I think that that's important because they understand what it takes then, you know, from to a point, what it takes for a trainer to get that horse right, because they're looking at the back end of that, you know, through the stables.
Yeah, I think it's been a great introduction that apprentices work at and for stables, and very fortunate that they're allowed to do barrier trials now, because sometimes even in a barrier trial, if you over trial a horse that's not ready for that kind of a pressurized trial, it knocks the horse backwards. So, and they can understand that, and they're there to learn about it. So yeah, I think it's been a great introduction for the younger generation, and I think it'll only benefit them going forward.
That's fantastic. Well, let's talk a little bit, because we're in this beautiful space, which is amazing. It's almost like a museum. Like, it's just phenomenal what you have in here going on with all your wins. And there's one picture back up there, which was very special to both you and Casper. And that was your Derby win on Super Saturn. And the owner as well, because they're lovely people. Ranju and Samara, they're a great family. So tell me a little bit about how that felt for you.
Oh, I can still feel the excitement. You know, it was a lot of planning from Cass. He obviously, we raced the horse at Happy Valley for most of his runs, and he won, I think it was 5 races there. And it was time for him, he started looking like a decent prospect. And it was time for him to go back to Charlton, and he ran in the Derby trial, the Classic, and he just got beat. He ran second, but we knew what we had. You know, that was a stepping stone for the Derby, and yeah, it just all panned out.
Yeah,
the position, the timing, it just all panned out. It was. Look, I left it a bit late, but I always knew I was going to get there.
Yeah.
Or I felt I was going to get there. But I know now, sitting in the stands from a trainer's perspective, the excitement, and when that line gets closer, the trainer doesn't have the same judgment as a jockey, because they can't see the line coming. So I can only imagine what Casper was going through.
He was
I probably aged him a few years after that, deservedly.
You did.
Deservedly.
All right, well, he's got to take that one. But no, I think that was the highlight. I mean, you know, and having my dad there with, you know, as well, it was super, super special. And I just remember when you and Casper embraced, I just remember that moment. You were on the horse and you were both emotional.
Yeah, it was very emotional.
And that was just such an amazing day for all of us. So I really appreciate it, and I want to just have a little talk outside, if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Just want to chat a little bit about Russian Emperor, and maybe we can talk a little bit more about some of the stuff going on in here, if you're okay with that. Yeah.
No problem.
So I'm just here with Dougie, and we're just going through his beautiful room with all his amazing trophies and Group 1 wins as a champion jockey and as a Group 1 trainer. So Doug, let's start off with the Emir sword.
Yeah, so that's the number cloth that he wore for the Amur sword. Very memorable. And that's obviously the champions in Cheta this year. That was last year. And that's the Gold Cup. That's the January Cup that Savvy 9 won, Group 3.
And that was in 2021?
Yeah, it was nice to have Christoph Sumion in town. He rode a peach of a race. He made the difference that day.
Nice. And then you've got...
And then that's the
Gold Cup, I think?
This is the Amar Sword trophy.
Oh, that's the trophy? That's amazing. Yeah. And you get to keep that. Doesn't have to go back in circulation or anything.
It doesn't, thank goodness. And this is obviously the Centenary Sprint Cup with Stronger.
Oh, nice. That was in 2022.
Yep.
That's amazing. And then you've got the Super Saturn.
Yeah, that was the Super Saturn, my first Derby.
Gosh, look how young we all were there.
I thought I still looked the same.
We're not far off. Mine is a little bit ahead, but you know, it's all good. That's amazing. That's great. Well, thanks for sharing your space.
No problem.
All these amazing trophies and plates. And which one is this? Standard
That's Russian Emperor.
Russian Emperors.
Yeah, the champions in Cheta. Always eating. Come, come.
Hello, handsome.
That's what they do.
Can I say hi?
Yeah, of course. What they do now.
Hello. Oh my God, hi.
Look at that. He's inquisitive, aren't you?
He's gorgeous.
With his
Huh?
big nose. Little
You
pink.
know you are too, don't you? Yes, I know. This is what I miss.
Yeah, well, this is my
is what I
time now.
miss, yeah.
I love going around. No, don't be
No biting.
They,
No-
they,
no
he-
biting.
he-
You just
he-
like little nips. Yeah.
You won't bite. Look. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, he's lovely. He's a good size, isn't
Yeah,
he?
big boy.
Big boy. Wow.
But he has summoned very well.
And he travelled well when he went. He didn't.
Absolutely.
Amazing, just like a natural.
It actually does him the world of good because he loses the excess weight when he travels. One way of getting
Because
it
he
off
tends to carry a little extra,
him.
right?
Little extra, yeah.
You look very handsome. You look very handsome.
Oi. Don't be grumpy.
No grumpiness.
They come to video you, miss.
I know, you're on camera, so no grumpiness allowed.
You want carrots, don't you? You want
That's
carrots.
probably what he's waiting for. He's
Yeah,
like,
'cause
where's
they're
my
not
carrots,
coming here,
Dad?
coming with
Yeah, how
carrots.
dare you come without carrots?
Oh,
It's okay.
okay.
It's okay. It's okay. I know. I've been around enough for you. Yes, I have. That's amazing. You going to trial him soon, or has he already had one?
No, he hasn't had one yet. No, he's
Going to wait a while?
gonna wait. He only runs in. He's only won, like I think, back end of October or November. So
Right. Yeah, he's got some time.
He's got some time. I know.
He loves it, doesn't he?
Mm.
Loves the attention.